Hello, hello. How's everyone doing? Alright, guys. It's time to get rowdy in here. We are gonna finish some stuff today. We're gonna get some stuff up and running today. So I have you know, I thought I had more. Okay. Turns out this is what I have. I thought I had more stuff in here, but so we're gonna add sensitivity settings. What did I do last time? Oh, and then controller connection. Oh, store a number of connected controllers. Okay. So how do we do that? Let's see. Unity, new input system, multiple local controllers. So we have split screen in which each player drives a pickup truck and has to collect randomly. Okay, interesting. Each truck is getting the same input. Okay. So getting input, they're doing input player, such and such. And then okay. Okay. Let's do this. Let's do this then. So, window. I just got the chills so bad. Ooh. Package manager input. Input system samples. Let's go ahead and get simple multiplayer. Yep. What's this? Da-da, 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 da-da. Whoa. Fix my hair a little bit and I just completely botched it. Alright. That's cool. No, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I didn't want to do it anyways. I didn't want to do anything anyways. Whatever. It's all good. It's all good. So what do I, wait, do I just do it again? Package manager. It puts some samples. Simple multiplayer. Okay, wait, what? It's already in here? This demo shows a simple local multiplayer setup. Players can join by pressing buttons on the split devices. Players joins, screen subdivided, split screen function. Okay. Joining is handled by the player manager game object, which is in a scene, which has the player input manager component added to it. So the component references player prefab, which is instantiated for each player within the game. Gotcha. Player contains game object that is player input component. And this reference the actions available to each player. Alright, actions available to each player intentionally kept simple for demonstration. Only action available. Okay. Let me also go and open this. I was say I have a feeling this isn't supposed to be in 2D. I see. Okay, interesting. Yeah, let's go over here though. No. Okay. So the player manager has an input manager here. Notification behavior, send messages. We'll send messages to game object. Let's grab some docs from this too. Thank you. Okay, so So the player input system facilitates setting up local multiplayer games where multiple players share a single device. So how the player input manager component notifies game code. Okay. And then join behavior. This one's set up with what? Join players when button is pressed. Okay, that checks out. And so you can send this to what? Broadcast messages, invoke Unity events, invoke C# events. Okay. And then this you can do join players when button is pressed, join players when join actions triggered, join players manually. So it was saying though that there's only one script for this whole thing. How do you know when to create a player then? Oh, it creates its player. We'll send message to game object on player joined on player left. Interesting. I would like to know how you can do more with that. And then it's So you can disable split screen, which is what I would want. Yeah, let me get out of this and go to my scenes. Let's go here. Let's go to 2D mode. So I'm just gonna add this to here since, you know, this game is really poorly managed and, you know, better easy than nothing. Alright, actually guys, give me 1 second. Sorry, I'm getting a call. I need to take this. Hello. Sorry about that. We're back. So, what was it do? Oh yeah, add component, and then player input manager is what I want to do. There we go. And so this send messages, invoke Unity events, player joined event, player left event. Oh. Then if we just do like this. Yeah. I like this a lot. I'm sorry, I thought I heard noises. But okay, so if we do this, we can have a, like in the game manager, we can have a, I guess we can do like a public void on player connected. What is this? I don't know what this is. I'm curious though. I'm actually very curious as to what this is. Unity for Dummies, and then let's see. What's here? Nothing. Literally nothing. Also nothing. Yeah, it's exactly what I'm looking for. Why was this not at the docks? Because it's version 20. Yeah, because this is old. Called on the server whenever a new player is successfully connected. Interesting. So I wonder... It's saying to use what? It still says network player, bro. Interesting. Go to the latest version of this. Oh, this version of View is not supported. Because it's not an LTS version. Alright, so let's not use this anymore. Yeah. Let's know with a nice debug log. Player connected. Guys, I need to grab my remote. I'll be right back. Let me grab my controller. Alright, we're chilling. Got a controller. About to be so locked in. What's the vibe? Okay. So this will do something, right? Because we can set this to game manager and then on player connected. Yeah, okay. And then that's fine. We don't have one for that. Join players when button is pressed. Don't enable split screen. Don't limit number of players. What if we limit number of players? Interesting. Joining enabled by default. Okay. Bro, what is going on with this? What part of this is an error? Because like this is verbatim. But this is. Yeah. I'm printing this right here. I think it's something that's primary power up doesn't have a sprite. I think that's what it's telling me. Like, I think it's telling me this doesn't exist. Anyways. Okay, so yeah, it's saying that it's connected. Ah, okay, my bad. Let me go ahead and save this. And then we forgot to set the prefab. Okay, so there's a couple things with this though. So let's okay, let's look at the overrides. So it's this, right? Okay, so that's fine. This is a game manager, that's fine. Okay, but see, this is the thing is, like, I can't have... Well, yeah, they could all point to that, couldn't they? Yeah. Oh, whoops. No, okay, that's fine. So I can't do that. That's the issue though, you know? So we're gonna have to change a couple things here. So first of all is, wait, it doesn't even use the game manager that I put in there. Like, bruh. Nah, I'm being for real. Like, it doesn't even... It's a sick playlist. It's a sick playlist. Because, okay, look, it does game manager equals game object, find object with tab, game controller, and then it does the whole thing. Yeah, so we're just going to go ahead and save this. And then when this loads, we will go here. What's it going to do now? Yep. And then it can't apply that. Okay, let's go to player health. Okay, interesting. Alright, so we're gonna do, I'm gonna have a method in here and say public void. Let me also add this to the docs. Upon this, we should also create a health bar and attach to the instantiated player object. Okay. Player void health bar. And we'll call this health bar equals HB, and then do this. Okay. So here we go. For now, let's keep this public, actually. Yeah, let's keep it like that for now. One step at a time. All right. So here we go. First things first. Game manager. Let's go to prefabs, characters. Let's do the player that we're putting in here. Now let's see. Oh, we can look at the error now too. 244. So now, yeah. Okay. So we'll check primary power up next time. Which we can actually just check. If we go here, player projectile, primary power up is none. So that's why. Okay, so another thing. I feel as though we have to have split screen because if we don't have split screen, then how are we going to show two sets of these? Game object does not have a player input component. What? Bro, what do you mean? I know what you mean. I now understand. This one does. Well, this one doesn't either. UI input module camera. On device loss, on device regain, changed, on jump, on shoot, on E, on rotate stick, on rotate mouse, on new action. Okay. Don't hate that. Yeah. So still can't do that, but let me activate split screen. I'm curious to see what it does. But then also let me what are these images? Secondary goes here. Primary goes here. And then power up slider goes here. Yeah. So yeah, I can't do that. But it's good. It's a good effort. Those are huge. Alright, so it doesn't like any of this. Player 2 has no cameras associated with, cannot set up split screen. And then okay. So one error at a time. First of all, should we do main camera or should we do the virtual camera? Okay, can't do that, so we're gonna do main camera. Okay. Let's see if this works. Nope. Okay. What was the first thing? So missing method exception. If we pop this out, enlarge this a bit. Okay, so on rotate, not found, invoke member. Set up coroutine invoke member. Alright. Yeah, so it's just not finding. It's just not finding rotate mouse. Does it matter if it's rotate mouse or something else? What if we do enter? So all those work. Interesting. So all the controls actually work. But something does not like any of this. I can't like pull it up at all either, unfortunately. input settings. Settings to the new input system are stored in asset. So yeah, that's the thing, is all of the input is stored here, right? Like, which I grab from here, which I put in here. And it's like, it has all the weird stuff down here, you know? Okay, checks out, checks out. I don't know, there's so many foes, but keyboard, mouse, and gamepad are all supported. No, I don't want that. No, I don't want that. Okay, so no, everything in there seems good. And checking in here, we have all this stuff. Yeah, this checks out. I don't know why. I don't know why I can't find anything. Is it because there's no? This is a UI input module. All right, let's go here. Let's go to the docs. See what's up, bro. Okay, so each player input instance represents a separate player or user. You can use multiple player input instances on the same time, but not in the same game object, to represent local multiplayer setups. Okay, that's exactly what I want to do. The input system pairs each player to a unique set of devices that the player uses exclusively, but you can also manually pair new devices in a way that enables two or more players to share a device. Okay. Each player corresponds to one input user. You can use... I wonder... I might be getting a little bit ahead of myself here, but I wonder if it's just because of this. It's also not instantiating a new... Also, what the hell? Bro, what is going on? What is going on? Yeah. And then, oh, I know what it is. Okay. Got that down a little bit, but it was because I'm in the wrong. I'm in a different scene than I usually am. I did that part in a different scene. Oh my goodness, bro. I don't know. I'm so yawny today. But I do think that it's probably just this part. Join players when button is pressed. Join players when button is pressed behavior will not work when the input action asset assigned to the player input component has no required devices in any control scheme. So what do I have to do? Go here and add a control scheme. I want to move this, sir. That's crazy. This is just a test scheme. Okay. So now I'm confused. Or not confused, but I'm curious. I'm curious. Intrigued. It's probably a better word for it. Yeah, that doesn't say that. Oh, bro, I'm getting clapped. I'm getting clapped. Okay. Still a lot of the same issues. Just a few. What if we get rid of that and try it now? Okay, so I don't think it matters. Let's go back here. Input system pairs each player with recent devices. Each player input corresponds to an input user. Okay, so add a player input component to an object. This would be the game object that represents the player in the game. Okay, and then create an input actions asset. Okay, did this. Oh my goodness, guys, this is embarrassing. I cannot stop going. Okay, I'm creating the actions asset. Unity asks where you want to create the new asset. Blah 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 blah. Create the actions asset. So it combines actions you want. Blah blah blah. Set the action responses by selecting a behavior type from the behavior menu. Behavior you select should input the methods that handle your action responses. Okay. Okay, so I got actions in. Here. So I got actions in. Default scheme. Looks like test scheme for now. Okay. So the notification behavior player input is to send messages or broadcast messages. You can set your app to respond to actions by defining methods and components like so. Interesting. So in Unity events, is there no on? Because I swear there was an on jump. Alright, what if I get rid of that? Alright, let's try that. Let's try that. Nope. It said no. No overload for on jump that matches delegate. Okay, yeah. So no, that doesn't. It's gonna go away, yeah. Okay. Let's try this again. Let's try this again. We'll see, we'll see. Okay. Nothing. This is what I don't understand. So it says when the notification behavior of player input is set to send messages or broadcast messages, you can set your app to respond to actions by defining methods and components like so. Interesting, interesting. Per action notifications, general notification, device lost, device regained. Yeah, I don't understand. I don't know what's going on. And I looked at this one too, and this one's not as complicated. I swear. All right. Oh, what if I did that? What is this? Okay, interesting, interesting. Still doesn't look that. Oh, that's something completely different. I don't know why it doesn't look that, but it does not. It certainly does not look that. Oh, because there's no player to chase after, that's why. It's confused. Oh, man. Oh. So here is what I think I'm gonna do. Unity, local multiplayer. All right, let's see what's up. Let's see what's up.
Are you?
No ads on this channel.
They can easily double the development time of the project. Whereas local split screen, that's a whole lot easier to implement. And Unity has made it even easier, in big thanks to Unity's new input system and some of the tools it ships with. So in this tutorial, we're going to look at a few things. First, using the built-in systems, mainly the input system, to create local multiplayer, adding optional split screen functionality, modifying existing controller code to use with multiplayer, using C# events to respond when players are added, for example, spawning players at different points in the map or functionality. It's possible with this system, so leave me a comment down below. Screen. Now, these issues are fixable.
Okay, guys, I am freezing. Give me a second. I'll be back. I'm so sorry, but I am so cold. And I don't know why. Hopefully this helps. Hopefully this helps. I do not know what was going on there, but your boy was chilly. Like I still am. Like my bones are chilly. ridiculous. Let me turn Spotify down. Hold on.
Would require some customization that is beyond the scope of this tutorial. Also worth noting, I'll be using the character controller from the third-person controller video for this tutorial. Although any character controller using the new input system should work equally well.
Let's see what your boys got.
And lastly, if you're just here for the code, there's a link in the description down below. Feel free to check that out.
I actually will. I probably should just watch the whole thing. But I'm going to try and take the easy way out. Tutorial code. Let's see what's in your boys' GitHub. So, Cinema machine input handler, child of mono behavior, and also axis state. Where's axis state? All right, maybe this is not how I want to do this. Add player, players dot add. Where's players? All right, walk me through this, brother. Walk me through this.
What is actually happening? Well, there's a lot going on behind the scenes to create split screen functionality, most of which is two components: player input manager and player input.
Okay, we have both of those.
Ship with a new input system. Now, while these classes are not simple, one of them 700 lines and the other is 2,000 lines, the end result is pretty straightforward and very easy to use. The player input manager detects when a button on a new device is pressed. When that happens, a prefab with a player input component is instantiated. The player input creates an instance of an input action asset and assigns the device to that instance. The prefab that is instantiated could be the player object, but in reality, it's just holding a reference to the input action asset for a given player and a device. So if you want to allow players to select their character or perform some other action before jumping into the game, you could connect the character selection UI elements to the input action asset, and then when the player object
explain this again.
These classes are not simple, one of them 700 lines and the other is 2,000. The player input manager detects when a button on a new device is pressed. When that happens, a prefab with a player input component is instantiated.
Yep.
The player input creates an instance of an input action asset and assigns the device to that instance. The prefab that is instantiated could be the player object, but in reality, it's just holding a reference to the input action asset for a given player and a device.
Yep. And okay, so this guy is saying the join behavior is going to be join players when join action is triggered. Use reference. This is the reference. Invoke C# event is what I did.
So if you want to allow players to select their character or perform some other action before jumping into the game, you could connect the character selection UI elements to the input action asset, and then when the player object is created, you can connect that object to the input action asset. And this becomes even easier if you create additional action maps, one for selection and one for in-game action. That makes your head spin a little bit? That's okay. The input system isn't simple, but it is really powerful.
Okay.
Are you ready for retirement?
I'm seeing where this is going.
Shows you where you stand now and how you.
So here's what needs to happen to get started. First,
we're
going to need to add in the new
YouTube
system to your project. We're going to do that through the package manager. And if you haven't played around with the new input system, definitely check out my earlier video on that system.
I have. I played around with it a little too much, if you ask me.
We're going to have to create an input action asset. We want to make sure we save that and generate the C# class.
I did that too.
Next, we're going to add in the player input manager component to a scene object.
Okay, I did that.
After that, we're going to create a player prefab and add the player input component.
Okay, I did that too.
With that done, we'll assign the input action asset to the player input component. And our last step is to assign the player prefab with the player input component to the player input manager.
Okay, guys, I did all of these.
We can kick Unity into play mode and press a button on your keyboard or mouse, and you should see a character prefab get instantiated. And if you have an additional controller, press a button and another prefab should be created.
Sir.
In some cases, I have seen Unity treat multiple devices all as one. This occurred when I connected the devices before setting up the player input manager. And for me, a quick restart of Unity.
Sir. Let me just double check all this. I don't want to be big goof. But that's what I did. We have a game object, right? With the player input manager. I mean, I have it as Unity events, not C# events. I don't know what the difference is, but like this should print player connected. Let's get some exclamation points. We can even go as far as to take this off of there. Right? That's fun. And then, so on player connected. Even though it doesn't really do anything, you know. But joining behavior is when the button is pushed, so that's good. Player prefab creates as the player. Which if we open up the player, it has a player actions input action asset on there. It also has, oh, no camera. Bruh, why does this have to be fucking... Why does this have to be a prefab? Also, don't make that in here. Just put that in like there. And then go into player. And then... Wait, no. Open this up. Yeah, then just throw that in there. Okay, so now we have the camera connected. Let's pause this for a second. So obviously any movement is a little rough, right? I actually don't even know why. It's here, right? And it's saying object reference not set to an instance of an object. What's that? Is you saying its rigid body isn't set or something? Because, yeah, it most definitely is set. I think there's a couple other things that aren't set, but I'm not too concerned about that right now. Okay, yeah, that doesn't work. That doesn't work. Okay. That checks out because there's no player. But first of all, this was never called, right? What if we changed... get rid of this. What if we change this game manager? What if we change this back to this? Or this, even. Oh, yeah, hold on, let me. Okay, so it connected. Okay, so it created a player. Interesting. So it's not separated though. Let's keep watching you, boy.
Resolve these issues. Now, before we move on, there's a little refinement here. I've had some issues with Unity detecting the mouse and keyboard as separate devices. One way to resolve this is by defining control schemes, but to be honest, I haven't quite found the secret sauce to make that work smoothly and consistently. Another way around this is in the input player manager to set the join behavior to join players when join action is triggered, and then create a join action in the input action asset.
Okay.
For me, I set the join action to any key on the keyboard and the start button on the gamepad, and it all works really smoothly.
Make your side hustle
I
even
didn't mean
harder.
it. No.
Simply enter your prompt and Blue.
Okay.
If you want each player to have their own camera, for example in a first-person shooter, the next step is to make sure that the player prefab has a camera component, so that when each player object is instantiated, it has its own camera object. In my case, the camera and the player object need to be separate objects, and I'd guess this is true for many games.
Okay, so what happens if I set player? What happens if I set this to any? And by that, I mean, what happens if I go here? Get this. And then delete this control scheme. Save. Because now it can't have a control scheme. And also, what happens here? Yes, now it says join players when buttons pressed. Behavior will not work when they can put actions as assigned to the player. Okay, so what if we do gamepad? Start or any keyboard. Okay. Now what if I do this? And then oh wait, okay, now they're both. Very interesting. Oh, now it's split screen. Oh, I am like done now, bro. This is a big mess. Big mess. Holy Christmas, bro. Okay. So that allowed both of them to join. Let's keep watching ya boy. Because I guess it's working.
To make this work, simply create an empty object and make the camera and the player objects children of the empty. Then create a new prefab from the empty object with the attached children and a associated player prefab.
Okay, hold on.
I set the join action to any key on the keyboard and the start button on the gamepad, and it all works really smoothly.
Okay, I did that. That's a good tip. Nice tip. Nice
If you
tip.
want each player to have their own camera, for example, in a first-person shooter, the next step is to make sure that the player prefab has a camera component, so that when each player object is instantiated, it has its own camera object.
Checks out.
In my case, the camera in the
So in that case, I want... Let's do create empty. Let's do... And then I'm gonna have to split the UI up too, actually. So let's actually go here. So each player should have their own camera and personal UI. Checks out, checks out. Let's watch this video all the way through.
player object need to be separate objects, and I'd guess this is true for many games. To make this work, simply
I'm
create
still
an
so
empty
cold. This
object
is
and make the
ridiculous. I
camera
swear my
and
house
the
isn't even
player
that
objects
cold.
children of the empty. Then create a new prefab from the empty object with the attached children, and assign this prefab to the player input manager.
Okay, so the overall player container is being assigned to the input manager. So you want to instantiate the entire manager.
The player
Okay.
input component
Player
in my
input
experience,
takes in
can
that
go
first
on
camera.
Any object in the prefab. So put it where it makes most sense to
Makes
you.
sense, makes sense.
I kept mine on the player object itself rather than on the empty parent.
Yeah, that's what I
Now
would
you may
do.
have noticed that the player input component has a camera field. So on the prefab, assign the camera to that slot. This is needed so that the split screen can be set up correctly. The last step before testing is to click the split screen toggle on the player input manager. After that, Unity should handle the rest. So kick it back into play mode, press a button on your keyboard, press a button on your controller, and you should get 2 player objects and the screen split in half.
Yep.
If you're using Cinemachine for your camera control, you should still get split screen functionality, but all the views are likely looking through the same camera, and we'll fix that in a bit.
Okay.
Since you're new to H&R Block, we'll go through your tax returns
Oh,
for the past 3
oh,
years for any money your last guy might have missed.
I could get money back from the last 3 years?
This one time, I scored.
If you've been playing
Okay,
around with
we're
a
good.
player object that has a controller component, you may have noticed that all the players are still being controlled by a single device, even if you have split screen working. To fix this, we need the controller component to reference the input action asset on the player input component.
This is what I
And
need.
to do that, we're going to need to jump into our code. We're going to need to modify our character controller script. What we need
Okay, first of all, let's analyze this. We have the action asset, the action map. I don't know what an action map is. An action. So input asset equals input asset, which is the action asset, equals this dot component get component player dot actions. Oh, player input actions. Okay. That checks out. And then the player equals input asset dot find action at player. Oh, okay.
Is
Yep.
change the type
That makes
of our
sense. That makes
input
sense. I
action
did a little bit
asset
differently,
from
but that
whatever
makes sense.
specific type you've created. In my case, that was third person action asset, to the more general input action asset. We can then get a reference to the player input component with get component or get component in children, depending on the structure and location of your components. Then to access the input action asset, we need to add dot actions to the end of that. And now for the messy bit. Since there's no way to know what type of input action asset we're using with our player input, we need to find the action maps and individual actions using strings. I don't like it, but it does work. We can get references to our action maps using find action
Old comments counted out. New codes directly below. Okay.
maps and references to our actions using find actions.
Player dot find action jump dot started. Okay, yeah, this is what I was doing. Yeah. Yeah. This is what the doc said to do, because that's what is like this is what it says to do. And then I don't know. Someone in the documentation says to do that. I mean, it's what I'm doing. No. Oh, I mean, not quite. It's close, but no cigar, you know? Also, it can't jump because it's not doing that. I forgot about that one. Yeah. Okay.
Do take care to spell the names correctly with
Yeah, because instead of doing this, you have to find action
the
dot jump.
correct
Yeah,
capitalization. And that is all we need to do. We've updated.
Why do you have to do it like that? Because before... So before you were defining it as an action asset, and now it's just an input action asset. Action map. Interesting. I'm not really
references to
sure.
our input action asset, our action maps, and the actions themselves. The rest of your controller code can all stay the same. Give it a quick test, and each player object should now be controlled by a unique device. If you want to control where players spawn, or maybe turn off a scene overview camera once that first player spawns in, we're going to need to add in a bit more functionality. Unity gives us an on-player join and on-player...
Guys, I'm going to be real with you. I thought once I found this library, this was going to be so easy. This is, in fact, not so easy.
left action that we can subscribe to and allows us to do stuff when a player joins. In addition, the on-player join action sends a reference to the player input component, which turns out to be very useful. To make use of this action, we need to change the notification behavior on the player input manager to invoke C# events. Unity won't throw an error if this isn't set correctly, but the actions won't get invoked. To demonstrate how to control where players spawn, let's create a new player manager class. This class will need access to the unity.input system, so make sure to add that using statement at the top.
Okay.
The first task is to get a reference to the player input manager component, and I've done that with find object of type. We can then subscribe and unsubscribe from the on-player join action. In my case, I subscribed an add player function that takes in the player input component. Now,
Okay, hold on. So this is what I was saying earlier. Players is just this list of players. Player inputs, which correlates to each player. You have starting points, and you have player layers. And then you have your player input manager. Your player input manager you're setting equal to you're just finding it essentially. And then yeah, you're adding a method to the input manager. Dot on player joined. So whenever players join, this add player thing is going to be called, and it's going to add a player to players. So it's adding a player input to players, and then Need to use the parent due to the structure of the prefab. Player parent equals player.transform.parent. And player parent dot position equals starting points. Players dot count -1 dot position. Okay.
Several ways to make this work, but I chose to create a list of the player input components, effectively keeping a reference to all the spawn players, as well as a list of transforms that will function as in-game spawn points. These spawn points can be absolutely anything, but I've chosen to use empty game objects. Then, when a player joins, I add the player input component to the list and then set the position of the player object to the corresponding transform's position in the spawn list. I've kept it simple so that player 1 always spawns into the first location, player 2 to the second location, and so on and so on. Because of the structure of my player prefab, I'm setting the position of the parent, not the character object. My player input component is also not on the prefab root object, so your code may look a bit different if your prefab is structured differently.
My name's Steve Eliff. This is my brother Paul
Oh,
Eliff.
boy.
Together we own Eliff Brothers Roofing. Whoa, Dad.
If the only camera objects in your scene are part of the player objects, that means that players may see a black screen until the first player joins, which is fine for testing, but isn't exactly polished. A quick way to fix this is to add a camera to the scene and attach a component that will toggle the camera off when a player joins. And yeah, you could leave the camera on, but this would make the computer work harder than it needs to, as it would do an additional and unseen rendering of the scene. So just like above, when controlling the spawn
I like
location,
this. I like that.
So if you're using more than one camera with Cinemachine, your project is probably looking and acting a bit funky, and we need to do a bit more work. We need to get each virtual camera working with and talking to a different Cinemachine brain. This is done by putting the virtual camera on a specific layer and then setting the camera's culling mask accordingly. The first step is to create new layers for each possible player. In my case, I've set the player limit in the player input manager component to 4, and I've created 4 layers called player 1 through player 4. Then, to make this easier, or really just a bit less error prone once I've set it up, I've added a list of layer masks to the player manager component. 1 layer mask for each player that can be added. The value for the layer masks can then be set in the inspector, nice and easy. Then comes the ugly part. Layer masks are bit masks, and layers are integers. We got some work to do. Now I'm sure there are other ways to do this, but our first step is to convert our player layer mask, which is a bit mask, to a layer, which is an integer.
When they've done
So
that.
in our player manager component and in the add player function, we do the conversion with the help of a base 2 logarithm. Why base 2? Think binary and powers of 2. In my case, the player input component, which is what we get a reference to from the onPlayer join action, is not on the parent object. So I first need to use a reference to the parent transform and then search for the Cinemachine free look and camera components in the children.
Okay.
If you are using a different virtual camera, you'll need to search for the type that you are using.
Use the parent. Oh, wait. Hold. Convert layer mask to integer. Player layers. Layer to add. Set the layer. Add the layer.
Once we have referenced the Cinemachine virtual camera component, we can set the game object layer to the layer integer value we created above. For the camera's culling mask, it's a bit more work as we don't want to just set the layer mask. We need to add our player layer to the mask. And this gets done with the black magic that is bitwise operations. CodeMonkey has a pretty decent video explaining some of how this works, albeit in a slightly different context, and I'll make sure to put a link down below. If everything is set up correctly, we should be able to test our code and have each Cinemachine camera looking at the correct player, which is pretty sweet. But you might still see an issue depending on your camera and how it's being controlled. If you're using a Cinemachine input handler to control your camera, you are likely still seeing all the cameras controlled by a single device. This is because the Cinemachine input handler is using an input action reference, which connects to the input action asset, which is a scriptable object, not the instance of the input action asset in the player input. And yes, if that all sounded like gibberish, you gotta love the naming of the new input system. Anyways, to fix this, we're going to need to create our own input handler. So we're going to copy and modify the getAccessValue function from the original Cinemachine input handler. This function takes in an integer related to an axis and returns
Oh
a float
man,
value.
okay. So first thing is let's separate. Separate the cameras. Okay. Where's the camera asset? Oh, it's in... But yeah, where is the camera asset? Oh, it's in here. Oh. Guy. Oh, wait, no, it's fine. Yeah, it's fun. I don't know why it's red, per se. Um... That was really scary. That was really scary. I thought I just nuked the player. Plus, there's no way I could have nuked the player because I have... Because I literally just made the... no, I definitely could have just nuked it. Because I have the player object, right? Okay, yeah, let's delete that. But now we have this. Now let's put this here. Everything's in. And we're fine. And we're fine. We're good. It's all good. It's all fine. It's all good. It's all good. No worries. No worries. And now here, this camera here, it's going to be this camera. And then here, it's It's going to be this sprite. And now let's see if we can't get something going. All right, so they didn't like that one. Let's try this again. Let's try this again. All right, let me throw this in here. Okay. There are 2 audio listeners in the scene. Please ensure there's always 1 audio listener in the scene. I didn't even know there was an audio listener in the scene. I didn't know there was 1, let alone 2, bro. I don't... Can you search components? Yeah, audio listener. Okay, so I just clicked on that and it's giving me nothing. Component audio listener. The menu you're trying to execute is disabled. It will not be executed. Thanks, bro. That is not helpful. Is it like camera or something? Oh, yeah. Okay, let's remove this. Okay, well, let's actually go here. And let's just, let's try that. Okay. Alright. Let's see. Oh, nope. There's lots of issues. How about, can I... So I have to, like, reconnect it. And not only do I have to reconnect it, well, first of all, yeah, let's just delete that. Let's just delete that. We don't need that. Bro. I should have saved a copy of this scene. Okay, well, now I can't move. Or jump. That's so funny. Can't do anything, but no, the entire UI menu got nuked. Is there a way we can bring it back, do you think? I don't know where it would have went. Should be right around here. There we go. Okay. Prefabs. And then we're gonna go to characters. And then there is a player object. I'm gonna delete this. And this is gonna be the player object. I have concluded this is the player object. Let's turn this on. We want to be able to see the player. Let's also get rid of all this jargon. Okay. Turn the audio listener off. Go to player. The camera should be this main camera here. Save that. Go back here. Save this. Go to game manager. Game object should be that. Delete that. Save this. Boom. All right. Now we're back to where we were before, except now this time we have variable start menu of game manager is not assigned. Oh my goodness. It's fun. I just have to reassign all of these. Man, I do not like this game. There's gotta be a better way to do this. Guys, I think I might have to. We might have to do a little finagling. I think we're gonna have to. I think I'm gonna have to do like a main UI manager. And it's gonna hold this, and it's gonna have a script called UI management. And it's just like I don't know what else to do. I could do something. We could throw this in the UI here. And then take the main canvas and we say, okay, so let's go. Right, okay. So let's take. We're just gonna have to go down the list one by one, right? Like, that's a thing though, is like, because things that are like win game, lose game, like when is this being referenced? Like, it's being referenced in round manager, right? So is round manager gonna call win game on what? What's it gonna call win game on? This is the kind of stuff, like, it could call win game on the UI manager, right? All right, hold on. I'm so sorry. I have to go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. We're back. We're back. Hello. Hello. Okay, so like when you win the game or lose the game, you have to set the end panel active, right? Then you have to set either the win text active or the lose text active. So that's all UI, and so you could make the UI manager call that. And then what? Everything just has to have a reference to the UI manager. Or you could just put it in the... You could have the you could have the game manager just call it. That's what you could do. Okay, so first of all, I think this is gonna work. I think this is gonna work. Yeah. UI manager. Let's do this. Why did it mess up the script? Why? 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 Thank you. Throw it in there. Okay. Now, just get a lot of these out of here. Object spin. It just goes near. What is this, bro? Okay, UI manager and game manager. Okay. So let's get all of these things. Copy. Paste in here. Okay, so now we can start copying these methods too. Like, so restart game is valid. Like, that's fine. But update kill count should be... See, that's a tricky one, right? Because, like... I mean, this could just call all this stuff in, because the problem is I can't have non. What is the problem? What is the problem really? I can't do a lookup of all of these things, you know? Like, I can make the main canvas a prefab, but I still can't say, like, grab the kill count image prefab, I don't think. Can I? Wait, can I? Can I do that? Guys, I've completely lost sight of the goal of this. Completely and entirely lost sight of the goal of this. I don't remember anymore. Because right now I have to go and assign all of these. I don't want them to be publicly assigned. I want it to be all in the code. That's what I want. Yes. Or at least I want it to be done once. You know? So that way I could just pop this prefab into however many scenes I want to create. That's really it. It doesn't have anything to do with prefab versus not prefab, right? And if I have it has a little to do with that, but I essentially want to make all of the UI a prefab, so that way I can just put it into any scene. And if the UI is a prefab, the game manager is not a prefab, but it can reference an instance of a prefab, which I can do. That's fine. Because then that's one instance of, you know, the UI manager instead of everything in the world being referenced, you know? Also, you can do it inherently and say, or you can do it in the code and say, hey, get the object with the tag UI manager. And then it'll get it. And then yeah. Yep. I know exactly what I'm gonna do. I know exactly what I'm gonna do. Ready? So the game manager, we're gonna do private game object. No. UI manager. UI. Let's call it UI man. At UI man is going to equal game object dot find object with of type UI manager. Yeah, is that gonna work? That should theoretically work. That should work. That should work. Good job. Good job, Unity. Good job. Then I want to copy every single one of these, right? These are fine. And then let's go here. Paste all of them. And say, okay, kill count. Don't need that. Okay, so that's kill count now. Restart game. We don't need that. Start game. Don't need that. Or this. Or this. Okay, now something like this. This is specifically pertains to the UI, right? Yeah, public float controls text lifetime. So now this actually might as well just put it here. So that specifically pertains to this. That's fine. Also, what is let's take this one at a time. So I kind of went too fast on this. But we'll do instead of well, let's do this, right? All of this. So, okay, so commenting all of this out is going to allow us to see where UI is being used here and stop using it. So let's do UI man dot update kill count. And then let's just throw the kill count in there. Okay, let's go to that then. Now, in start game, we can do this here. But this show controls text is a lot of that. This is UI. That's UI. That's UI. So why don't we do all of this in the UI manager? Completely get rid of this. Which means we're not going to do this, which is good because we don't want to do these in here. So do enable player input and then do UI man.start game. And that's perfect. Update enemy count. You're going to do this. Okay. Yep, that's exactly what I do. And then in here, we would do... Sorry, the mic is a little weird position. Enemy count is what's going to be coming in here. But get rid of all this. We cannot give the enemy count from the UI. We're not going to get this from the UI. We shouldn't be returning anything from any of the UI. Also, start game should just be these. Yeah. Okay, good. Is anything else returning stuff? No, everything else is void. Controls menu, settings menu. Okay, so all of these. Yeah, these are just opening menus. Controls menu, about menu, close control, close about menu. Okay, so let's go to those. Actually, scratch that. Let's comment them out. I don't think we're gonna need. I think these are just being called by buttons, so they can all be internally. And that should be fine. I don't think anything should be calling these. I mean, we could see. No, there's no references to any of these, so that's fine. Okay. Open settings menu. Should be fine. We should just be able to do that. Yeah. Those are all good. Yeah, just take both these off actually. And this one's going to be the same thing. Take those two and that one. Yep. And then just get rid of these. Select arcade. Select arena is fine to stay in here. Actually, no, because that's a button. Okay, and then this is, I want to be UI man, win game. UI again, lose game. Okay. This is good. This is really just acting as an interface to interact with the UI manager. It's really all it's doing. I think it's fine. I think everything is gonna be good with this. Okay, so let's go here. Don't know how I missed this one. Oh. Wait, why isn't this just update rounds? Public void update round text. Int. No, you shouldn't need anything for that. No. Because you're just... Um... Private int round equals 1, yeah. All right. And then, okay, so now that we have that there, we can do in here. Let's do it in the same place as the last one. Update round text. It's going to be int round. And then rounds text. Do we have a rounds text? Yeah. So then we do rounds text dot text is going to equal that plus round. And that'd be perfect. Yeah, and you can set the default to whatever. And then just call, yeah, it doesn't exist, but just call update round text. Round text. Perfect. All right, there we go. Look at that. It took us like 10 minutes to make an interface. That wasn't bad. That wasn't bad. Not as bad as I thought it was going to be. TBH. Okay. So that's what I am confused about is like so if I take this away, if I delete this, right? Like, so that's fine, but this one isn't. A screen space canvas with no defined camera acts like an overlay canvas. Interesting. Okay, that's fine. I don't really want to worry about that right now. What I do want to do is worry about this. Okay. It's this, right? Kill count text is here. Controls text is here. Controls text lifetime, let's give it 5 seconds. Rounds text is I really like how there's absolutely nothing there. Oh, that's why. Yeah. Remaining enemies. Controls menu. About menu. Settings menu. Start menu is what? Intro? Oh no, start menu. And then this I think is intro. End panels here. Win text is here. Lose text is here. Okay. So now we need to go through and every single button we have to do. So controls panel. Okay. So controls panel, it's just resume. Which should This one. Let's go here. And UI manager, it should close control menu. Which close control menu kills controls and brings back settings. Makes sense, makes sense. All right. Cool. So now the about panel, let's actually kill this and bring back up the start panel. I know that's not the one we're on right now, but the about panel has the resume button, which we're just going to have that also. UI manager, close about menu. Start panel, arcade style button, main, arcade style button is going to be UI manager, start arcade, and arena is going to be start or select arena. Exit button is just going to exit the game. Exit game. There we go. Okay. Settings panel, we have the resume button, which was going to close the settings menu. We have the controls button, which is going to open the controls. Open controls. About button, which, you know, might have guessed it, but it's going to open the about menu. And then switch mode button. I think that opens the start is what we did. I think this is just start game, right? Because start game will what? Sets a time scale, it enables player input, and it calls start game, which shows control text for X amount of seconds. No, we don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. Oh, that's how I did it. That'll be a later fix. That's going to be a later fix. Yeah, we'll do that later. Just put fix. For now. That's just going to be how that's going to work. Start button. This is just close. Okay, that's fine. I don't know why this has its own button, but okay. Okay, that's cool. Whatever. Is there like a restart game? No. Why, no, there is not. There's no restart game. How do I not have a restart? Update, start. I do have a restart game. Bro, you're tripping. Oh, yeah, okay, hold on. I was like, I was like, bro, there's no way I don't have a restart game. But I do. It was just in the wrong class. Wrong script. There we go. Okay. Theoretically, that should be good. That was so much for like nothing. That's not even like, it's just not even at all what I care about right now. That's what sucks, is I really don't care about any of that much right now. But I had to do it. Okay, so he's saying you can't do this anymore. He's saying instead you have to instead of creating a new player actions, you have to reference the existing player input on the... Okay, but that makes sense. That makes sense. So yeah, this is just going to be get component player input. Dot actions. Okay, that checks out. That checks out. No. Does that not check out? So then how do I... Yeah, he's saying to just... so private input action map. Just call it gameplay. Yeah, this should be gameplay, not player. So this should be that, and then this, we want to do. Okay, so that's how this is going to be structured now. That'll be rotate stick, and that'll be rotate mouse. Okay. Rotate stick, rotate mouse, perform. Okay. So theoretically, that should be fine. Also, he's using, like... Curious about this. Because he's doing on enable. He's setting, you know, this not started plus this started plus. Oh. Okay. He's setting move equal to an action. Little strange. He's just saying input action move is find action move. Interesting. And then enable. And then he's doing the opposite, subtracting them in disable. Which is definitely a new one. But okay, but in reality, that's what I have to do is change this to this. And then at the end do gameplay dot enable. And then do the same thing here, except for this is disable and this is minus. Okay. Yeah. Let's see how bad this fails. Oh. Okay. Except for this should be rotate mouse. I think that's right, but I'm not really sure. The AI suggestion is so close. I really don't want this. Okay, let's see what this does. Guys, I can't lie to you. I thought I was going to get way further today. I thought I was going to get way further today. I cannot lie. Whoops. Okay. I guess let's try it. Let's see what happens. Okay, so we got 1. 2. Unfortunately. Okay, so this is a lot of nothing. Okay, let's pause this for a second. Okay, whatever. I really don't care about that. Okay. All those are kind of expected. And not that big of a deal. Most importantly. Most importantly, they're not that big of a deal. I do not know why. So there's 2. Okay. I'm seeing what's going on here. The same things are just in the picture. I can't like move, unfortunately. Not really sure what that's about, but yeah, I don't know. It's probably because movement's not bound to any of this, is it? Movement is not at all bound to this, no. That's why. I gotta remember how to do this, but I can try. So move would be here, and it would be... Bro, what's up? What's up? How you doing? How you doing, Zach? How you doing, man? What you need help with? Is it game related? Dev related? First of all, bro, real. I was just saying probably 2 or 3 minutes ago, I thought I was gonna be like done with this today. I streamed for like an extra hour that I normally, extra half an hour than I normally do. I was ready to grind this out. Yeah. I really can't wait to be done with this. This is way more complicated than I thought it was gonna be. And next time, I'm gonna like structure my entire input system around multiplayer instead of throwing it in last second. Definitely not gonna do this again. But what you are you just trying to implement multiplayer in your game? I assume. I am like getting there. No. Okay. Sometimes I share my website with people on Twitch and it makes them sad. I don't know why. Oh. That's kind of strange. I also don't know why. I'm sorry. That's unfortunate for the people you're sharing it with, but I mean, unfortunately, that's not something you can really control. I mean, people are gonna feel how they feel about it. I don't know why they're sad, but yeah, I can. No, you're good. Here, let me pull up let me drop my Discord in the chat. Or you can drop the website in the chat. It's up to you. Nah, bro, I'll give you my honest opinion. I promise I will not be sad by your game. If it's if it's super good, then I will be thoroughly impressed. And if it's not good, then I'll I don't know, I'll give you some constructive feedback. But let's see it. Website RPG is pretty intense. I'm looking forward to this. Also, I need a break from, all this dev. Okay, cool. Sam 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay. All right, cool. Let's see what we got here. 1.5 years. All right, bro. That's a sick project. This is very intense, I will say. This looks very... This looks really cool, actually. This looks like there's a lot of components to it, which is really nice. Looks like it's a very, in-depth game with a lot of mechanics. No, it's not like I don't think it's messy. I just think like there's a lot of games like that. Like any like strategy game, really. Any game that has really like complex mechanics is like this. I wasn't trying to throw shit in the game. Volt 13, yo, what's up? How you doing? This is actually something that Zach just pulled up and showed me. This is not my game, actually. My game is not quite as horrifying. It's frogs. There's no frogs right now, but there's frogs. It is frogs. My game is frogs. Why is there no? Oh my gosh. Alright, JK. My game is actually just crashing out right now. Why don't we open another scene? We'll open another scene, see what's good. Last guy said complex too. I think it's too complex and tense, maybe, and feels overwhelming. Coaster's game is an actual game not made by a nutter. Bro, every game's made by a nutter. Don't be like that. Also, like, complex games is a genre. Like Civ, City Skylines, like even games like Path of Exile and Diablo, like those are all complex games that all vary in play styles and like I mean City Skyline is just a chill game, but you go to Diablo and then all of a sudden you're just praying for your life not to die. I don't know, I've never really played Diablo, but yeah, but like some people really like to get nitty gritty with the mechanics. Some people really like that complexity. And some people don't. Some people want a game they can just dive right into and not have to think too much. So your game's not going to be for everyone. I will tell you that right now. But I can already I haven't even done anything. All I did is look at the front page. I can tell you that there's a lot going on here. And there is a genre of people that are really going to appreciate that and really going to want to dive in and go crazy with this. I will probably not play this right now because this looks like it's going to take me a hot second to understand. But well, thank you. I'm glad I could give some nice feedback. But nah, bro, you can't I know you said that people were like designed for both people who like complex things and casual players. Yeah, that's true. I mean, that's probably why Diablo is so popular. I threw Diablo out there because I know that it has very complex mechanics. I am not a huge Diablo player, so I mean, I'm not a Diablo player at all, so I can't really speak to it that well. But I do know that it has complex mechanics, and there's a lot of games like that. It might not be the best example, but I mean, I know Civ is a really good example, or Crusader Kings, or any games like that, any of those strategy games. Okay. Gotcha. All right, but I think my point still stands, I was going to say something, and I completely forgot where I was going. Oh, Zach, I will try and look at your game off stream. And I'll try and give you some more feedback on there. Actually about like the mechanics and stuff. Yeah, I can play the frog game. Bro, my game is so bugging out right now with all of the stuff I'm trying to do, but I'll pull it up on the website and play it, like the published version. Oh my gosh, bro. Where's dark mode? Thank you. My eyes just... That hurt my eyes so bad. Alright, this is Battle Frogs, guys. Everything's so small. Why is everything so small? Bro, that's actually so tragic. Let's do arena style. Oh, there we go. I just didn't update the UI. That's the one thing. There's a lot of things that are super sketch with this. So this is just a classic shooter, but with frogs and flies. You can eat the flies to gain their power-ups. There's certain boosts that drop across the field, and there's 15 rounds. So let's see how far I can go. I have beaten this before. Not many times, but I have beaten this before. Okay. I definitely forgot the controls. I've been literally trying to set this up with a controller for a while now, and I just, like, am so out of commish. So do you do just simple web games, or do you have some bigger projects in mind? I do have bigger projects in mind. I started this project maybe a year ago, not even. And the idea was that I just wanted to get something. I wanted to get like a smaller game to play. I wanted to complete a project is really what my goal was. So I started making this. This is definitely the biggest project I've done so far. I do have a lot bigger games in mind. My first game I made was a ninja platformer with like 3 levels, and it wasn't very good. Well, I actually, like, those 3 levels weren't bad, but it was 3 levels, you know. You only get so far with that. This is my... Oh, no. Okay. Yeah, as I said, this is my biggest project so far. Yeah, I'm hoping to finish it up in the next couple months and start on something else. I want to get a few, maybe a couple more like smaller projects, and in the process get a team going. I want to do some more game jams. I did one last year, but I've been trying to spend a lot of time working on this, but I'm trying to wrap this up now. So I'm doing local multiplayer, online multiplayer, and then I'm done. Well, I'll probably touch up a little. I'll probably touch up a couple more things to make it, you know, keep touching up the gameplay a little bit here and there, and make it a little more entertaining, a little more intriguing. But I think for the most part, like the big things are going to be multiplayer, online, multiplayer, local, and that'll be it. And then I really like making games that are like based around animals. Obviously, this is frogs and flies, but at some point I want to make like a Monster Hunter kind of game, or some sort of like in that kind of genre. It's definitely gonna. I have some pretty unique ideas for it. It's not gonna be a very typical Monster Hunter. Probably closer to. I don't even want to say closer to Pokemon, because it's not really going to be like Pokemon at all. But that one's really big, so I just want to have experience. And French Bulldog game is hilarious. The fast movement is kind of... I don't know. I really like it. That's too fast. The speed up is way too fast, and I do have to fix that. But I like the like this. I like it. I like it. But I could tone it down. I definitely could tone it down. It's not out of the question. That's just my personal preference. Can I please get that? Thank you. I need to be able to eat these things. Yeah. But so in a very long answer to your question, this is my biggest project so far, but I have plans to do bigger ones. How am I only at round 5? I really need to start grinding. I just like fast movement. I play retro shooters and after all, and even made one. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I don't think you're wrong. I really don't. The speed up power up is definitely too fast. I will admit that, and I think I could definitely slow down the movement a little. I think it is a little just like it's too. Yeah, I don't know. I messed around with a lot with the movement, and I just every time I think I get it right, it doesn't. It's just no. I don't know. Part of it is also like I'm not an animator, for sure. Like the art is not all that great. I think it's okay for doing it myself, but like I'm happy with it doing it myself, but also I know that it's not very good in the grand scheme of things. Bro. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. The freeze is killer. The freeze is so killer. Thank you. Appreciate that. I wanted to eat you, bro. Oh my gosh. The tongue is like, sometimes the tongue just like does not work. There we go. No. Bro. Oh no. It needs more stuff. It does need more stuff. It does. Yeah, as I said, right now I'm just trying to focus on getting multiplayer going, and then I think I'm gonna try and add some more features, maybe some more enemies, more gimmicks and whatnot, more power ups. Definitely gonna take away the super speed because that is really not cool. But at some point, I just gotta call it. Like, the project just has to be done at some point. It's never gonna be perfect, you know. Netcode. I actually have no clue. I will actually take note of that because I have not thought about how I'm going to do multiplayer yet. I just really haven't looked into it for online multiplayer. I'll definitely keep that in mind, though. That could just build and networking. Okay, cool. That's what I knew that it had a built-in like it had built-in tool for it, but I didn't know that's what it's called. Have you ever done you ever used it before? Bro, the freeze is so killer. Okay. Just curious. That is probably what I'll end up using just because it'll probably be, the easiest to do. It might not be the best, but I don't need to be running this. I don't need to be ensuring this game is running at, 120 frames, so not too concerned about it. The tongue is just not. Yeah, I feel you there. Feel you there. Bro. What Volt, where'd you work at? all 90% suppose I had to call my seniors who was related to networking. That's valid. That's valid. Hey, you know what you know, man. And sometimes it's just not. Yeah, I mean, you know what you know, I guess. Local industry. That's cool. That's cool. You still working for like another indie studio or a bigger studio or no longer a studio at all? I need to get one of these purple guys. The purple guys are so OP. The multi-shot power-up is goated. Bro, I just want to eat you. Like, tell me that's not goated. That power-up is absolutely cracked. No, looking for work at the moment. But that's real, bro. That is real. The job market is rough right now. Rough. For anything tech-wise. Especially in the game industry. It's kind of relaxing, low-key. I definitely needed a break from deving for the last 2.5 hours straight. Bro. Get me out of there. Get me out of there. It's so funny, like if you're like moving around, it separates from the bullet. Like the tail separates from the bullet so easily, and it just looks so goofy. Like this is definitely such a. That's the thing, is like if I wanted to make this, if I really wanted to polish this game, I'd have to spend, another 100 hours on it, I feel like. Which I don't think it's like a bad thing. Like there's stuff that I think I'd really benefit from, like that. Yeah. Well, Vol, I really hope that you find work soon. I really do. It's not easy to be constantly looking and, not fun. But I like things like the tail. Like it'd be good. I'd love to know a good way to fix that or a good way to implement that so it doesn't do that. Like implement shooting so it doesn't do that. But also, I don't want to spend, 2 hours on every single thing like that trying to figure it out. Ooh. It's over. It's over, bro. It's over. Bro, that was such a fat L. Bro, no. All right, bro. Round 8 is. I feel like I've just played this game for this game is actually surprisingly long. I've been using Unity for, 25? 5 years? 6 years? Yeah, it was either like. Yeah, I want to say 5 or 6 years. So for a while, but I really, like, I'm not 5 or 6 years advanced. Like, I'm not 5 or 6 years fluent in Unity. I don't, like, that makes it sound a lot more knowledgeable than I am. Get out, brother. All right. That's brutal. How long have you been using Unity for? Yeah, I mean, like, and honestly, you probably have way more. Gotcha. You probably have way more time spent in Unity than I do. I like over 6 years. I have 2.5 projects. And I mean, this one's pretty considerable, but I haven't really done anything 3D. I haven't. Even like coding is my strong suit, and I feel like I haven't really done any crazy coding in Unity. It's all been like super basic. So I think after this project, I really want to push myself to just spend, like, start cranking out stuff that's like, super niche, or like drill down on one thing and go, all right, like 1 weekend or like 2 weeks or even a month. But I think I want to do, like 2 weeks. Spend like 4 streams on it. I stream twice a week. So it'd be, just see how that goes. Bet. Bro, I'm glad. I'm glad that you found an audience. Sometimes that's the hardest part. But if you can find an audience for your game, that's hype. I'm glad you did, man. I'm glad, Sock. That's good. That's cool. All right. It is yeah. Okay. That's good. 5 projects, 4 games, and a Unity asset. That's pretty baller. Not a bad resume. Not bad at all. I'm gonna sign off for the day, guys. I usually stream 5 to 7, but I'll be back on Wednesday, 5 to 7 Eastern Standard Time. If you guys want to, or Eastern Daylight Time now, I guess. If you guys want to come back, if you want to check out any of the past videos, I have a YouTube link in the description. Or if you want to join the Discord community, feel free. But thanks for hopping on. Hopefully I'll see you guys again. Bye.